Breaking news, folks, and when I say breaking, I mean the kind that shatters your jaw, drops your popcorn, and makes you scream at your TV like you just saw the season finale of a Netflix crime doc. Bill Cosby. The so-called America's dad. The man who built a career on sweaters, smiles, and fatherly advice just got slammed with a life sentence. And guess who was right there in the courtroom to see it all go down? None other than Ice Cube. But hold up, this wasn't some polite, somber, oh what a tragedy moment. Nope. Ice Cube saw Cosby collapse to the floor like a Jenga tower in an earthquake, and instead of rushing over to help, he allegedly smiled. Yeah. Smiled. And then, oh, you're gonna love this, he tells reporters, life sentence? Nah. This man should have gotten the death penalty. So what's going on here? Why's Ice Cube throwing verbal grenades at a man already going down in flames? And what really happened in that courtroom before the cameras started rolling? Buckle up, because this rabbit hole is deeper than Cosby's list of lawyers, and trust me, that list is long. Asterisk. Alright, let's just rip the band-aid off, because subtlety left the building the second Bill Cosby's knees buckled in that courtroom. You already know the headline, Cosby gets life. Ice Cube was there. Things got messy. But if you think that's the whole story, congratulations, you're adorably naive. This isn't just about one man's sentence. This is about decades of whispers, lawsuits, payoffs, and the kind of skeletons that don't just hide in the closet, they throw wild parties in there. And on sentencing day, the closet door finally got kicked open. Now, for the 3 people in the audience who still don't know who Bill Cosby is, let me give you the short version. He was once America's dad. TV icon. Beloved comedian. The kind of guy your parents trusted enough to leave babysitting you while they ran errands, except, plot twist, behind the warm sitcom smile was a history of allegations so long, it could be its own Netflix category. We're talking decades of accusations, all denied, all brushed aside, all handled quietly. Until they weren't. Until the truth, or at least the court's version of it, came stomping in like Ice Cube in a Raiders cap. Picture this, the courtroom's packed. Media everywhere. Lawyers sweating through $1,000 suits. Cosby's sitting there, looking, well, let's just say not like the face on the old DVD covers. And in the back? Ice Cube. No entourage, no flashy chains, just Cube in a dark suit, arms folded like he's been waiting years for this moment. The judge starts reading the verdict. Life sentence. Boom. It's official. And right then, Cosby's whole body seems to give up, like someone hit the off button. Down he goes, right there in front of everyone. Gasps. Shouts. Reporters dropping their pens. And through the chaos, Ice Cube just watches. Doesn't move. Doesn't blink. Then, according to people sitting near him, he smirked. Yeah, smirked. And the best part? After court, Cube drops this nuclear line to the press, life sentence? Nah. He should have got the death penalty. This man took my friend's life. I'll never forgive him. Now, this is where the plot thickens like a bad gravy. See, most people assumed Ice Cube was just there as a celebrity observer, maybe making some quiet statement about justice. But nope, turns out, according to our sources, and by sources I mean the people in my DMs who swear they know a guy who knows a guy, Cosby was allegedly connected to the death of Cube's close friend, Malcolm. Yeah. That Malcolm. Rapper, activist, Cube's day one homie. Official cause of death? Unresolved circumstances. Unofficial whispers? Someone powerful wanted him gone. And now, Cube's pointing the finger directly at Cosby. And as if that's not enough drama, Malcolm's mother was in court too. When Cosby collapsed, she reportedly burst into tears and shouted, "Kia kia tum? Tum mera beta chin lia." The room went dead silent. Except for the cameras, of course, they never stop rolling. But wait, because this story has more twists than an M. Night Shyamalan marathon. Hours after Malcolm's death, his wife allegedly emptied every single joint bank account they had. Every last dollar. Why? Well, she hasn't exactly been volunteering explanations. Now, the conspiracy-minded among us, and let's be real, that's 90% of you watching, are connecting dots faster than a true crime Reddit thread. Was she in on it? Did she know something? Or was she just trying to protect herself from whatever storm was coming? And here's the kicker, according to leaked court docs, which may or may not have been accidentally sent to me by someone with terrible email security, there's an ongoing investigation into whether those withdrawals were part of a much bigger cover-up. If you're thinking, wait, were Cube and Cosby ever even in the same circles? Oh yes. Back in the 90s, before Cube went full Hollywood, he ran into Cosby at multiple industry events. And let's just say, they didn't exactly vibe. There's an old story, never confirmed, but juicy enough to survive decades, that Cosby once pulled Cube aside at an awards show and told him, "You'll never last in this business with that attitude." Cube allegedly fired back, "I'll last longer than you if I keep my hands clean." Foreshadowing much? Now, the internet was loving this. Within minutes, Twitter was ablaze. Hashtags like #CubeCult, #Cosby Collapse, and my personal favorite, #Death Penalty Debate started trending. TikTok had reenactments, Instagram had memes. My favorite one is Cosby on the courtroom floor with the caption, "When you realize Cube's watching you fail live." Some people praised Cube for speaking truth to power. Others accused him of kicking a man when he's down. And then there were the conspiracy theorists, convinced this was all part of some bigger Hollywood purge. You know, the kind where suddenly every A-lister's dirt gets aired out like it's spring cleaning. Here's the thing, celebrity scandals aren't rare. In fact, Hollywood runs on them like it runs on overpriced lattes. But what makes this one different is how many other names are quietly tied to it. During the trial, there were multiple mentions of other parties of interest. The judge even referenced pending investigations. And trust me, when the feds say pending, that means they've already got a list of people sweating through their pillowcases at night. And while Cosby's sentence might feel like the big finale, for Ice Cube, it's just the opening act. According to one anonymous friend, who spoke to us on the condition we only identify them as DJ Unnamed, Cube's been sitting on information for years. Names. Dates. Receipts. Oh, and here's a fun little tidbit. The night before sentencing, Cube was spotted at a late-night diner with two investigative journalists and a man wearing what looked suspiciously like an FBI badge clipped to his belt. What were they talking about? Was it the weather? The latest Lakers game? Or maybe, just maybe, who's going down next? So here we are, Cosby's in custody. Cube's walking free, looking like a man who just crossed the first name off a much longer list. Malcolm's wife is under a cloud of suspicion. And somewhere in the shadows, more dominoes are lined up, just waiting to fall. Because here's the question we'll dig into next. Was Cosby really the mastermind, or just the first pawn sacrificed in a much bigger game? Was Cosby really the mastermind, or just the first pawn sacrificed in a much bigger game? Because, let's be real, in Hollywood, pawns look a lot like kings until the real kings get bored and knock them over. See, here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. If Cosby's guilty of half the stuff people say, then yeah, the man belongs exactly where he is right now. But, and it's a big but, in my professional opinion, as a certified couch detective with an internet connection, I can't help but notice how perfectly timed all this feels. Almost too perfect. You mean to tell me that decades of allegations sat collecting dust like your grandma's porcelain cat collection, and only now do they get the big courtroom finale? Right when Ice Cube suddenly has receipts? Right when a certain unnamed streaming service is developing a tell-all documentary that just happens to feature Cube front and center? And then there's the leaked footage. Yeah, you heard me, leaked footage from inside the courthouse during recess. Someone, and I'm not saying it was a bored bailiff with a burner phone, but I'm not saying that, filmed Cube pacing in the hallway with two men in suits. One of them flips open a folder, Cube looks down, nods, and you can clearly read one word on the top of the page: list. A list of what? People? Victims? Accomplices? Favorite pizza toppings? Who knows? But the internet's already made up its mind that list is the Hollywood hit list. And if Cube's holding it, some careers are about to go up in smoke faster than a failed Marvel reboot. Meanwhile, the Malcolm subplot is heating up like microwave popcorn. You remember Malcolm, Cube's friend, the one whose death he blames on Cosby? Well, now we've got a new layer. Apparently Malcolm wasn't just a friend. According to an ex-associate who spoke under the totally believable pseudonym Tony from the gym, Malcolm was working on a book. A tell-all. And the rumor is, Cosby's name wasn't the only famous one in those pages. Guess what else? The laptop Malcolm used for writing, poof. Gone. Disappeared the same week he did. Police reports? Still looking into it. Translation: we know, but we're not touching that mess without backup. And then there's Malcolm's wife, who's suddenly become the most no-comment person on planet Earth. She's been dodging reporters, skipping public events, and according to one paparazzi shot, wearing sunglasses indoors at 11 p.m. classic "I'm hiding something" energy. The money she pulled from their accounts? Gone. No paper trail. Not in her name. Not in anyone's name. Just vanished. People online are connecting dots like it's their side hustle. Some are saying she took the money to pay off certain people to keep quiet. Others think she's running her own investigation. My personal favorite theory? She's secretly funding Cube's crusade from behind the scenes. Hey, it's wild, but this is Hollywood, wild is the baseline. Now, let's talk about Cube's behavior post-sentencing, because oh boy, the man is not exactly laying low. The night after the verdict, he drops a cryptic tweet: "One down. More to go." That's it. No hashtags, no context. Just the digital equivalent of tossing a match into a room full of fireworks and walking away. That tweet? 2 million likes in under 12 hours. Replies ranging from King Crown to "Yo, drop the list already," to "Bro's about to Thanos snap half of Hollywood." And as if that wasn't enough, TMZ catches him the next day stepping out of a black SUV in front of, wait for it, the federal courthouse in downtown LA. Not the criminal courthouse. The federal one. He doesn't answer questions, just gives the cameras a little half smile and keeps walking. And you know what that means: either he's trolling us, or the man's cooking something big. Meanwhile, inside the prison, Cosby's allegedly not doing so hot. Word from an anonymous corrections officer, who may or may not have been yelling through a fence when they told me this, says Cosby's been refusing meals, keeping to himself, and mumbling about a betrayal bigger than anyone knows. A betrayal by who? The courts? His lawyers? Or maybe, people he thought were on his side? Remember that list Cube was seen looking at? Rumor has it, Cosby's name wasn't at the top. Which begs the question, if Cosby wasn't the main target, who was? And did someone feed him to the wolves just to get the heat off themselves? Public reaction split right down the middle. On one side, you've got people cheering Cube on like he's Batman with better beats. On the other, you've got the due process crowd insisting Cube's running a personal vendetta, not a crusade for justice. Then, of course, there's the wake-up, sheeple crew convinced this is all staged, that Cosby's actually on an island somewhere sipping pina coladas while a body double takes the fall. Hey, don't laugh. Stranger things have happened. And through all of this, the most underreported part of the story is what's brewing in DC, where it is, certain lawmakers are quietly poking around, asking questions about entertainment industry cover-ups and the systemic shielding of powerful individuals from justice. Which is just politicians speak for, we're thinking about dragging more people into this mess. Now, if you've been around long enough, you know how this usually goes: a couple of hearings, a few spicy sound bites, and then, nothing. But this time feels different. Maybe it's Cube's relentless energy. Maybe it's the fact that social media won't let the story die. Or maybe, just maybe, there's actually enough dirt here to bury a whole red carpet. And I can't get past the detail that keeps gnawing at me. Why was Cube even allowed in that courtroom during sentencing? Those seats are like golden tickets. You don't just stroll in because you feel like it. Someone wanted him there. Someone wanted him seen there. And if you think about it, what better way to send a message to whoever's still on that list? Imagine you're one of them, sitting at home, seeing Cube in the front row, watching your buddy go down for life. That's not just attendance, that's a warning shot. By now, you've probably realized this isn't a closed case. Not even close. This is the opening credits. The part in the movie where the first villain gets taken down and the hero, if that's what Cube really is, starts gearing up for the bigger fight. So what's next? Are we about to see another public takedown? Is Cube going to keep dropping names until the whole industry's shaken? Or is someone about to try and shut him up before he gets too far? Whatever happens, one thing's for sure, if there's a bigger game here, the next move is going to make this sentencing look like a dress rehearsal. And that's the thing about dress rehearsals, the real show is always louder, messier, and way more dangerous. Because just when you think the dust has settled, the ground starts shaking again. Literally, in this case, TMZ drops grainy security footage of what looks like Ice Cube meeting with an unidentified man in a parking garage at 2 a.m. The man's wearing a hoodie, carrying what could be a laptop bag, and Cube's looking over his shoulder like he's expecting Batman to swing down at any second. The bag changes hands. Cube nods. They part ways. The clip cuts. Internet detectives lose their collective minds. The theories? Endless. Some swear that's Malcolm's missing laptop, finally resurfacing after months in the shadows. Others think it's the infamous list. And then there are those who think Cube's being set up, that this footage was accidentally leaked to paint him as the bad guy before he drops whatever bombshell he's been cooking. And speaking of bombshells, Cosby's appeal. Oh, yeah, didn't think we'd get there, did you? Word on the street is that his legal team's already filing paperwork to challenge the sentence, citing judicial bias and pretrial misconduct. In other words, the classic Hail Mary. But here's where it gets messy. One of his attorneys was spotted having lunch with someone tied to the Malcolm case. So either these two scandals are about to crash into each other like a bad Fast and Furious sequel, or they've been linked from the start. Meanwhile, Malcolm's wife finally breaks her silence. Not in a courtroom. Not in an interview. Nope, on Instagram Live at 3:17 a.m., wearing pajamas and sipping what she claims is herbal tea. For 10 straight minutes, she rambles about truth being a dangerous currency and not all debts are paid in money. Then, she abruptly ends the stream after her phone buzzes twice in her hand. No explanation. No goodbye. Just gone. The comments section? Chaos. Half the viewers think she's dropping coded messages. The other half think she's having a breakdown. And then, in the middle of all that noise, one comment stands out: check the marina. No username, no profile pic, just those 3 words. Cut to the next day, police boats swarming a private marina on the coast. No one will say why. No charges filed. But guess who gets spotted watching from the pier, hands in pockets, wearing sunglasses even though it's cloudy? Yeah. Ice Cube. By now, the story's gone from courtroom drama to full-on conspiracy thriller. Media outlets are running 24-hour coverage. Talk shows are dissecting Cube's every facial expression like it's the Zapruder film. And the hashtag who else is on the list is trending worldwide. Then, it happens. Cube finally breaks the silence. No cryptic tweet this time. No smirk to the paparazzi. He sits down for an exclusive interview, not with a major network, but with some independent YouTuber whose channel normally reviews old VHS tapes. The guy asks him point blank, "Do you have a list?" Cube leans forward, stares dead into the camera, and says, "Yeah. And it's shorter than you think." Boom. Internet meltdown. That's all he says on it. No names. No numbers. Just enough to send everyone into a frenzy. Reddit threads explode. Twitter spaces fill up with armchair detectives. Celebrities start making vague prayers up posts, which, let's be honest, is Hollywood code for "I'm scared and my lawyer told me to say this." And in the middle of that hysteria, Cosby's prison phone records leak. Multiple calls to a single, unlisted number, traced back to a prepaid cell purchased in cash 2 weeks before his arrest. Guess where it was bought? A store 3 blocks from Malcolm's old apartment. Now, we're not saying this is all connected, but come on. Even the people who think the moon landing was fake are like, yeah, that's suspicious. And just when you think the web can't get more tangled, surprise, the federal probe we mentioned earlier? It's not just about Cosby. Sources say subpoenas have gone out to at least 4 other high-profile individuals in the entertainment industry, all tied to financial irregularities and misconduct spanning multiple decades. And here's the kicker, one of those names allegedly rhymes with Bennifer Slopes. You do the math. The narrative shifts overnight. Cosby's no longer the sole villain, he's part of a bigger, uglier picture. Cube? He's not just the guy throwing shade from the sidelines, he's either the whistleblower of the decade, or the most calculated player in the game. By the time the week ends, we're left with more questions than answers. Who else is going down? What's really on that list? Was Malcolm's death the spark that lit this fuse, or just another casualty in a war we didn't even know was happening? And that's where we leave it, for now. Because in a story like this, the next headline could drop any second. And when it does, you'd better believe it's going to make everything we've seen so far look like the opening act. So here's my question to you, if this list is real, do you think Cube's doing this for justice, or revenge? Is he the hero in this story, or just another Hollywood player with a bigger spotlight? And what about Cosby? Is this the final chapter in his saga, or just the start of a messy, high-profile appeal that's going to drag everyone else into the mud with him? I want to hear what you think. Drop your theories in the comments, call me crazy, call me a genius, just don't sit this one out. Because trust me, this isn't a story you want to be catching up on after the fact. And if you think this was wild, hit that like button so hard it files an assault charge. Subscribe for more breaking truths, because when the next bombshell drops, and it will, you're gonna want front row seats. Until then, keep your eyes open, your phones charged, and remember, in Hollywood, nothing is ever what it seems.